All right, guys, I do have a Monday editorial for you. It comes out of Florida. And after all the rioting and protesting and police car burning, you still have law enforcement officers that do this. I can't even believe what this guy did. I don't know. But I'm just going to jump into it. I'll give it to you. I will give you the link to this story in the description box below so you can read it all. I'm just going to give you the top portion of it. But you're going to love it. Here we go. Coming out of Florida. Thank you, TampaBay.com, for this story. A Hillsborough sheriff's sergeant was fired and arrested for pointing his weapon at the head of an unarmed black man who was already in custody, Sheriff Chad Chronister announced Friday. Sergeant Janak Amin had served 21 years with the agency. He faces a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Sheriff Chronister said at a Friday news conference outside the agency's city headquarters, quote, Sergeant Amin's actions, the violation of public trust and the dishonoring of his oath to protect and serve, is despicable. The incident that cost the sergeant his job took place Thursday at the intersection of North Nebraska Avenue and East Annie Street. A jail inmate who was inadvertently taken to Daco Behavioral Health Center left the facility, according to the sheriff's office. Deputies went looking for him, and they found him hiding behind a trailer and detained the man, the sheriff said. The man was placed in a prone position but refused to give his name to deputies. Sheriff Chronister said he was not armed and made no aggressive action toward our deputies. The sheriff said Amin, who was kneeling next to the detained man, became angry, pulled out his weapon, threatened his life simply because he refused to identify himself. Chronister said Amin made comments to the man saying he would shoot him in the head. Now, this is the TampaBay.com story. I didn't give you the Washington Post story because every time either the New York Post or the Washington Post, when I try to read the stories, it gives me 2 paragraphs and then says, subscribe to read the rest of the story or read the full story. And I don't know if you guys really want to subscribe to the Washington Post, so I didn't give you that one. But in the Washington Post, they have the other officers quoting Sergeant Janak Amin as allegedly saying, give me your name or I'm going to splatter your brains all over this concrete. Wow. Just wow. Other deputies intervened, Sheriff Chronister said, and diffused the situation. They also used an alternative method to identify the man without his cooperation. The Washington Post says they used his fingerprint. Sheriff Chronister emphasized what he called the most egregious nature of the incident. Amin pointed his gun just inches away from the head of an unarmed man, the sheriff said. Now, Sheriff Chronister said, quote, I don't think this incident is indicative of who Sergeant Amin is, but regardless, it takes only one incident to violate the oath that you take, the public's trust, and to break the law. There's absolutely no reason, no excuse, and no justification for why this sergeant acted the way he did. Sheriff Chronister said he could not release the name of the victim due to the sheriff's interpretation of Marsy's Law, a constitutional amendment that is designed to protect crime victims but also deprives the public of information that has historically been provided in Florida. Sheriff Chronister said the man later told deputies he was scared for his life. I would be too. I had a sheriff deputy putting his gun to my head and saying, you do not have the right to remain silent. I'm going to splatter your brains. I mean, I'd be scared too. The incident was reported to command staff by the deputies who were at the scene. An investigation was launched and Amin was taken off duty on Thursday. On Friday, he was fired and booked into the Hillsborough County Jail, then freed after posting $2,000 bail, says Sheriff Chronister. Now, a couple of things I want to get. First of all, he says, and this is why you always record the police for shit like this. What if those deputies had never said anything? It would have been their word against that guy's. Thank God they stepped up. They must be watching Big Nick's videos because they stepped up, man. But had they not said anything, that's why you always, when you see cops, run over and record them. But what gets me is he was freed after posting $2,000 bail. Putting a gun to a guy's head and saying, I'm going to splatter your brains on the concrete. You or I would be on a $5,000 or $10,000 bail. Holy crap. But the other thing I wanted to nail down was Sheriff Chronister. He did say that this was egregious, that this man should be fired, that this was, he broke the law. It was despicable. But then he says this. Where was it at? Yeah, I don't think this is indicative of who Sergeant Amin is. Hell yeah, it's indicative of who he is. What are you talking about, Sheriff? The guy's been on the force for 21 years. You think he just snapped and put a gun to a guy's head?
That's what you like to do, right? Don't lie to me. Told me to suck your dick, bitch. Isn't that what you said to me? Look at me. You wanted me to suck your dick. That's what you said, right? That what you said? Didn't you say suck my dick, bitch? Don't lie to me. That's what you said. You telling me I'm a liar? You didn't say suck my dick, bitch. That's not what you said to me. So I'm lying. Am I lying? No. Huh?
This guy's been abusing people and violating civil rights for 21 years. This is indicative of who he is. This is who he is. Get it? The sheriff is still trying to defend him in a way and say, I don't think he just had a bad day. It's not who he is. He just had a rough night. No. This cop's out there violating people's civil rights and abusing people and putting guns to people's head. Come on, this ain't a one-time incident. You and I both know that, Sheriff. You're smarter than that. Or are you? At least you fired the guy, and at least he was arrested. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know. It's Community Leo Watch, watching Leos. That's law enforcement officers from coast to coast. One more. Law enforcement officer is off the streets for now.